know I'm not the prettiest man that you ever seen. I know you've been to places that I've never been. I recognize the darkness in your eyes. I identify with your casual disguise. My angel falling, calling out my name, angel falling, shining down on everything, my angel falling, right before my eyes. Even the angel cries. I know what's going on inside your head now, child. I worn your shoes and I walked a million miles. Ever looking back and trying to reconcile? Well, just rest your wings and let me shelter you a while. My angel falling, calling out my name, angel falling, shining down on everything, my angel falling, right before my eyes. Even the angel cried. Even the angel cried. Even the angel cried. Yeah. You're the sweetest thing I ever laid my eyes upon. I look deeper, baby, and the mystery's gone. Ever looking back and trying to reconcile? Well, just rest your wings and let me shelter you a while. My angel falling, calling out my name, angel falling, shining down on everything, my angel falling, right before my eyes. Props for the cover up on the forgetting of the words in the middle of my song.
In the middle of your song.
Yes.
It happens all the time.
I covered it though.
Hell yeah. Welcome, you guys. This is the Cream-Based Bus, and today we have a special guest with us. His name is Mitch Barr, and he is here to give us a couple songs, and all originals, of course. And, you know, we're kind of just going to talk and learn about Mitch and what he's got going on. And that was your song. What was that song called?
That song is Angel Falling.
Do you have a place where people can hear this song yet?
There's some of my music up on SoundCloud. I guess it's
Okay.
SoundCloud, SoundClick. Both
Okay.
of them, there's music up there.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been recording music and actually putting stuff out for people to see?
The first time that I actually heard myself performing, like recorded, was back in somewhere around 1990. A good friend of mine had a little Tascam 4-track.
Very cool.
And
Cassette?
yeah, I'll play you one of those songs in a little while that's kind of appropriate to where we are. But it was kind of life-changing. You know, I'd been playing and singing for many years, but I'd never heard anything that I did, or it was really cool.
I'd have to say that when I started really recording myself is when I really started finding out what my sound was. I think it really helps you deliver the way you want to deliver, you know? And hearing yourself play and hearing yourself back, you really learn the mistakes as well, the things you want to correct, the things you want to get better at. And for me, it definitely helped. I think that's why I personally went into recording myself.
Yeah, I think I told you, I was early on. I was predominantly an electric guitar player. The first time I picked up any guitar was an electric.
I think it's the way to go.
And that's what I did. I was a solo, right? And I could do that stuff all day and all night on electric, especially.
Sure.
And then, of course, I met the woman who turned out to be the love of my life, and all these songs started coming, and I started listening to, a lot of James Taylor and Jackson Browne and Don Henley and all these great songwriters, and
those are the people you'd say inspired you?
No question. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Very cool. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say this is really exciting for me to be here with someone who's been playing music for a long time and is inspired to keep playing and wants to be here and kind of talk to me about it. It feels really good. Thanks for I'm really glad to have you here.
I'm thrilled that you asked me. Everybody that picks up an instrument and spends some time mastering it to one degree or another, invests a lot of themselves, no matter what they tell you, they will always take an opportunity to share it, however uncomfortable. I'm not good at this, but when it's me alone in a recording studio, I make great music. When I'm doing this live, like my heart's thumping and my legs are jiggling and all that good stuff. So
it's all the good stuff. Yeah.
but it's good. It's good energy. It's not,
right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. You asked me, so a very good friend of mine who I still, all these 40 years later, I still am in contact with. We sat one day in his room back in the Bronx, and we recorded 3 of my songs, and I drove home with a cassette player. Y'all remember cassettes, right? These things, you stick them in a slot and they turn and they could break and stuff. And
we're getting some likes on TikTok for the cassette player.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. So you guys remember cassettes? Excellent. And the whole way home, it was this life-changing experience. Hearing what my voice sounded like recorded, hearing my electric guitar, which I had spent gazillions of hours playing when I was supposed to be in school, of course. And that was life-changing for sure, and it lit the fuse that was supposed to be the rocket ship that was my career. I spent the next 15 years chasing the dream,
right.
as defined by all the greats. I wanted to be the next Jackson Browne, the next Eagles, the next.
I think you're still definitely on that road. I mean, you're Nomadic van sessions now. So
I am. Yes, I have played more in front of people in the last 2 months since I moved into my van than I have in probably 10 years. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Would you say when you think about starting getting in love with music, also was it the time? Well, you said that you were also falling in love as well. So
I was in love. Music was my first love. It'll be my last love. I got divorced after 30 years. She's a great lady, but yeah, I'm still married.
She'd be thrilled to know that you were still saying that.
She does. She knows. We speak frequently. We have 4 great kids together, and 2 of whom are monsters on this guitar and can sing amazing. They grew up with guitars in their hands. So
which is incredible in any creative aspect, to keep your kids being creative, keeping that around them to be able to experience creativity from a young age is so important. When you're talking about people who are young people who don't know how to express emotion yet, the easiest way to express it is through.
I'm going to do the
this.
rudest thing, but I think it's crucial that I do it because there is a photo that you will absolutely love that I want to share with you. Hopefully, I can find. So first of all, this is one of my sons with his. That's my guitar that I built, right?
Oh, that's the one.
That's Mike. This is the guitar I told
Oh
you
shit.
about. Mike is now traveling nomadically by motorcycle. He's down in
Mike's Moto Travels.
Mike's Moto Travels. Follow Mike's Moto Travels. You want to be blown away by what this life can look like? My son, Mike Barr, Mike's Moto Travels. He rode from New York to the West Coast, spent a lot of time here in the desert, and then crossed the southern border into Mexico. He's currently in Cartagena, Colombia, waiting for his bike to ship around the Darien Gap.
That's quite a flex, I gotta say.
It's amazing. He's a baller.
Like,
he really is.
This is the bike I'm gonna use. Forget about it.
Oh, absolutely. But wait, there's one more that I really need to show you. Where is it? I'll find it. Keep talking.
I'd say that I'm very new to music in any aspects, really, and so playing with people who are better than me is really important to me. I want to continue to get better.
I don't know that I'm better than you. I haven't heard you play yet.
I guess that's true. We'll have to get me on one of these.
We'll get you on one of these for sure. The reason that this photo is so important is because it does put a huge asterisk / italics on the role of music in young people's lives. And you know what? Instead of looking for it now, I will find it, and you can cut it in anywhere you want to.
I'll do it.
It is a photo of my youngest son at approximately 3 or 4 years old, sitting on my bed with the mini Fender Stratocaster that I bought for him, and looking like he is the king of the world, fucking holding a guitar like it's supposed to be held, like a woman,
right.
and just already at his age, it's killing me. I should have pulled this up earlier, but even at his age,
He was ready to rock.
Killing this shit, and now again, as I told you, they're all beasts, but both of them are beasts. They do other things, but I'm not going to waste more time looking for it. But so we'll find it.
Where do you plan on being over the next course of the next few weeks? Are you going to stay in Arizona? Because right now, you guys, we are in we're right outside of Lake Havasu City.
Yeah, beautiful here.
Absolutely beautiful. We're in like a bowl of different mountains around us, all different shapes and forms. Literally, we're just in the circle of it, and we've been here for at least a week. I've been here for about a week.
Yeah,
7 days.
I've been here. I got here sort of the Thursday or Friday after Skoolie. I stayed a few days after that ended, and came out here. Was on the other side, like the main entry into Craggy Wash, and then our sort of group here found this bowl, and it's just been. I mean, you were here. It's truly heaven on earth. Yet it's 10 minutes from the city of Lake Havasu City, and
we haven't even made it in yet to actually see it. We're gonna do that tomorrow.
Which
I'm really excited.
It's got to be the downside of exclusively being in the bus.
Right. Yeah, when you're in something like this, you don't want to move it all the time. You want to set up your stuff, be ready to do what you do here, and that's it. So
yeah, I mean, I'm the motorcycle guy. We should talk about that. Like, I wound up in this life because of my motorcycle accident. In a roundabout way.
So you were kind of already touching on the idea of being nomadic, but on the bike was the plan?
Well, I was living somewhat nomadically in my work. My work began to take me everywhere, like all back and forth across the country. I was living in California after my divorce, and then COVID hit. I started private practicing. I guess I should clarify, right? So I'm a substance abuse counselor and a recovery coach, and I work with people who struggle with addiction, alcoholism, and any other issues that may be going on in their lives, but primarily addiction related. And so when I got laid off from my job, immediately within 2 weeks I had more private clients than I knew what to do with locally. And then somewhere around May of 2021, I was asked passionately, I won't use the word begged, I guess I just did, by a wife of a former client to come to Oklahoma City and help this former client who was really killing themselves with alcohol. And so I packed my truck, I loaded my bike, and off to Oklahoma City I went. And I was there from May of 2021, and I was set to leave the very end of September to go to my son's wedding, and then parts unknown after that. And I was in a very serious motorcycle accident. I got hit while out for a ride on the highway, and that, in addition to wrecking my bike, it wrecked my body, and I was laid up for about 6 months and did nothing. I was bedbound for 5 of those months.
That's a really debilitating feeling, to feel like you need somebody to do the things you want to do the most, you know?
This thing, not this guitar, because I gave that guitar to my one of my sons. This is a recent purchase, but the guitar, it saved my life. It's I hate to cliche it and bring it back to music, but if I don't have this thing in my hand, I could live without a warm female body next to me. I cannot live without this next to my bed.
Yeah.
And I will pick it up and put it down and pick it up and put it down 100 times a day sometimes.
Right.
I may play for 5 minutes. I may dig in and write a song, but this is always nearby, and this kept me sane through that very trying time.
And that
painful time too.
That's a huge point that I love to cross on all the time, is like music and art and all of these things we loved as kids are things that we can still love now as adults, and are actually what keeps us going. The fire inside of us is those things when we were those creative kids, and we can still be close to that inner child that doesn't even know what depression or anxiety or whatever any of that even is, when you're close to those things that you love the most.
Well, truth be told, I did. I was a very anxious child, child of divorce, suffered from insomnia since I was 5 years old, severe insomnia, and began singing into a hairbrush at 5 and 6 years old, and it just never went away. Middle school came, started in chorus. But I was okay with a group. As soon as the spotlight was on me, I had terrifying, debilitating stage fright. And so when I was asked to audition for Music and Art High School, the Fame School, I didn't, because I couldn't perform in front of people. And God knows what the trajectory of my life would have looked like had that happened, but that's on a long list of shoulda, woulda,
Right.
But my point is, before I was willing to put myself in front of people, I had to hear what I sounded like. To go back to your original question, when I heard what I sounded like, when I heard what my song sounded like
on the Tascam,
what it said, what my song said, and I'll play you that very first song that I wrote. It started as a poem written out in the desert somewhere here, before I was married, like back in my early 20s. But it became a signature song of mine that that had the interest of some major labels and so on. But hearing oneself as a listener, and that's the beauty of the advent of the home recording system, and it's only gotten. I mean, look at what you have set up here.
It gets
It's unbelievable.
right,
It's
and
life changing.
one of those things is like I think of Somatic. Somatic was one of the first people to create like a real studio grade compressor. It was over $15,000 brand new. That now comes free. Their like plugin for that comes free with Ableton Live when you buy it's $700 software that has thousands of things, and it literally comes with the glue compressor that Somatic came out with. In the like early 80s. It's absolutely absurd what's available and to the touch now, like so physical. You can literally make it in a small space like this.
What I love about the digital audio workstation, which by the way, none of my major recordings, more recent stuff I have, but like my CD that I made back in 2000, 2001, that was all done with a big 32 channel Tascam mixing board,
Right,
four
right.
ADAT machines, and
Right.
synced up to MIDI, and it wasn't an automated board, so I had my two hands, and one of my sons, and I was like, okay, so at this point in this song, you're gonna move that fader up to 6.
Right.
That's my guitar solo. I can't do it because I got to be over here
Yeah,
mixing
yeah.
like the background. You're playing it like a multi-person instrument. It was
Totally. Right.
And now I think back to the great albums of my youth, great producers, Ted Templeton, who did Van Halen, the Doobie Brothers, among 1,000 other groups. But the sound, Phil Spector, Wall of Sound, the sounds are so layered. Somebody had to be there mixing and
right. At that moment too,
In the
because there
moment,
wasn't a
yes.
lot of like post-recording effects and stuff you could
No,
throw on.
it
had
was
to be
all
done.
real time. Yeah,
That's insane.
Until I remember the first
you had to be
automated
talented.
mixer,
You only
Yamaha.
got one or two chances. You'd be in a studio. You only had so much money.
It cost a fortune. Yeah, that's why so many bands got screwed back then, because they ate up like $1 million worth of recording time,
Totally.
which I never got to do by and I'm not the least bit bitter.
No. That's a different life. It's a different life. I think I like this style too, like, because I want to be a musician, but I want to do it during the day. I want to be a daytime musician. I don't want to stay up till 4 a.m. in the studio with people. I don't know.
Interesting you say that, because so after I recorded my CD and shopped it, again had some serious interest. This is going back to 2000, 2001-ish, and ultimately a very famous record company executive who everybody knows his name. Excuse me. He after pondering my career for 2 weeks, he got on the phone with me and he said, "Mitch, man, I really dig what you do, man, but I got nowhere to put you here. Like, it's all boy bands and hip hop right now. I don't know what to do with you." And so maybe a couple months after that, I got offered a deal by an indie label, a top indie label, but they would have put me on the road 45 weeks a year.
Totally.
At the time, I already had 3 kids. I was making more money as a carpenter than I was gonna as a like journeyman, touring musician in a van with 3 other guys.
Totally.
Running around the country. I would have missed my kids.
Right.
So, cut to 3 or 4 years later, John Mayer breaks and steals my slot. Right? Because that's sort of my electric sound. That's, the singer-songwriter, electric guitarist. Not taking anything away from Mayer. He's amazing. He's like one of our favorites in my family. But, that, and then the singer-songwriter kicked off, but I was 35 years old at that point. What was I going to do? I was going to, aside from Ray LaMontagne, nobody like in their 30s and 40s like jumps off and gets to the highest level of success.
Totally.
So
Right.
You know,
And I think that's why
as I push up on 60, you know, I'll be the first guy to do it in his 60s, maybe.
hell yeah. I definitely get I get kind of salty when I hear about people who have been playing music their whole lives, because I was kind of given that opportunity. I was always given instruments, but I was never like taught how to use them, and I just felt I was never excited. And I had a drum set for a little while as a kid, and I like hit it a couple of times, and I saw everyone's faces, like how awful it sounded to them, and I never wanted to touch any of it. And so like being so new to music now, I feel like I'm in this race now to like get to a niche where that I feel is desirable to me and the people around me, but have, I don't know, I'm trying to catch up on the experience thing for sure. So like being around music your whole life is such a great opportunity.
I'll say to you what I would say to anyone's, what I've said to my own sons. You just have to pick up your instrument and start writing,
Totally.
even when it sucks.
It sucks a lot of times.
It doesn't matter. I mean, so for the 20 or 30, what I consider to be great songs that I've written, there's 130 that I won't play for anybody. In fact, I can't even remember them because they just got lost in the shuffle somewhere.
Totally.
Some of them I can't even play live because they're too complicated, or they were written on keyboard, you know, and it
Totally.
never just translated. But you know,
that can be a really big challenge for a singer-songwriter, is saying, I know all the parts that need to be here, but I don't have enough hands or bandwidth to do all of these things at once. And when you're trying to do an independent, track or independent album or whatever that is, it can get kind of daunting to have so many tasks at hand. Like, I'm by no means a drummer, but I've got a drum set because I will have to make my own beats one day. I'll be out on this road and I'll have to do it, and it's going to make me a better musician.
True story. One of my sons said, "Pop, I want to play drums." And I said, "No fucking way." Right? Because all the years going into studios playing with drummers never stop
They're
drumming.
animals.
You're trying
animals.
you're trying to tune up your guitar, and the drummer is drumming.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like, dude, can you shut the fuck up for 5 minutes?
You don't
Let
have to
me tune
tune.
my guitar. You know, I'm saying to a keyboard player, give me an A, please, and you can't hear an A because the drummer's drumming. So I shut that shit down really quickly. So they became guitarists, and singers and piano players. So, yeah.
Would you like to play a couple more songs for us?
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, you know how nervous that makes me, but I will do anyway. Sometimes the sun will shine in the summertime rain, and the wind don't blow in the eye of a hurricane. Every broken heart will mend one day, and every fallen angel gonna fly away. I say everything gonna be alright. Everything gonna be alright, I say. Oh, I have slept in fields of green and gold, where the eagle flies and wild horses roam. I walk where desert winds forever blow. Now I finally found my way down coming home. I know everything gonna be alright. Everything gonna be alright. Everybody got a song inside to sing. Sing it loud like the whole world's listening. Everybody got a light inside. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
I feel the needle cold upon my skin. Thunder clouds and lightning rolling in, but the light falls gently and the morning comes. I awaken, for thy will not mine be done. I know everything gonna be alright. Everything gonna be alright. Everything gonna be alright. Everybody got a song inside to sing. Sing it loud like the whole world's listening. Everybody got a light inside. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thanks again, everybody, for being here, hanging out with us today. If you did for a little while, we really appreciate any of your time. My name is Jalen, and this is Mitch Barr. We are recording today in the cream-based bus.
Cream-based bus. We love the cream-based bus.
We do recording out of a 36-foot school bus that we are officially Nomadic as of 3 weeks ago, which is really cool. And plenty of time to go. But what we do here is introduce nomadic people and just people along the road that we meet that have something going on that they want to share with the world, whether it be music, art, any kind of talent, or anything they want to teach somebody or the world, as many people as we can outreach, I guess. And today we have Mitch Barr with us. And up next we're going to be talking a little bit about what he does as Nomadic Van Sessions.
It was over at first sight. I was blinded by your holy light. Never did I see the line I'd cross. Been out on the road a while, and my heart remains unreconciled. And the signs are everywhere, but still I'm lost. Oh, it's been a long time since I felt like a good man inside and rose above. Too many days and nights have passed. How much longer can I last without your love? Without your love. Somewhere we got left behind. And from this point I still can't find the man my father swore I'd never be. California on my mind while I'm living low on Texas time. But that's what you get when you leave a man like me. Oh, it's been a long time since I felt like a good man inside and rose above. Too many days and nights have passed. How much longer can I last without your love? Without your love. I know that it's over now. Nothing left to talk about. I just need to say goodbye for good. Say I love you and drive away. Let the tears fall down just as they may. Looks like another sunny day in Hollywood. Oh, it's been a long time since I felt like a good man inside and rose above. Too many days and nights have passed. How much longer can I last without your love? without your love. California's on my mind while I'm living low on Texas time, but that's what you get when you leave a man like me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To the many, many ones of people out there, thank you.
It kind of feels like poetry time because it's a small space, so you don't want to like get heavy, you know. So like you want to be excited and show your appreciation, but you don't. It's not like a snap moment.
Well, I've done the snap thing. When I went back to school for what I do, midlife, I went back to college at 41, and I had to take an English class for my degree in that subject, and I took a poetry class, and this teacher was she was very, very, very big into the slam poetry, and so I wrote this really cool poem and wound up playing it at the Bowery Poetry Club, and so I got some snaps. It was pretty cool.
It's like a coffee house kind of vibe too, you know.
Total coffee house vibe, yeah.
We talked a little bit about music, what inspires you, and now I want to talk a little bit more about exactly what Nomadic Van Sessions is and what you kind of have planned for this Dodge Ram that you've got out here. It is a Dodge Ram, right?
It is a Dodge Ram ProMaster.
Mm-hmm.
136-inch wheelbase. She's the shorty, but we have certainly maximized the space in there, as you've seen. You know, as is the case with everybody out here doing this nomadic thing, everybody's got something that they're doing, and so I switched up my Instagram and I changed it to Nomadic Van Sessions. And
what was it before?
It was Life on Two Wheels. And since I have not been on two wheels in a while, it was appropriate to change. But it's a dual purpose. It's a dual purpose name. It's a space for me to create music, and
Sure.
and I've uploaded a couple of little videos. Maybe two of the songs that I just played. But it's also
They're hits. They really are.
that's what I like. Big hits. I will eventually play the stage in Madison Square Garden. That was always what it was about for me. But it's also an effort to extend myself to the nomadic community as well as the the rest of the people who might catch a glimpse of what I do by any means, whether it's through things like this or by accident.
Mm-hmm.
I work with the addicted population, and there's a healthy share of people struggling with that out here in the van and schoolie and nomadic community.
Right, and a lot of it accustomed to it as well, based on what they got going on in their lives, the people around them.
Absolutely, and so I want my van to be a safe space where people can come to me and allow me to be of service to them. It's kind of what I have devoted the last 15 years of my life to. And there's no reason that I have to stop that, because I am living nomadically.
If anything, it's going to excel, because now you can really reach those people literally at any given moment.
Well, so for the better part of the last 2 years, and we're pushing up on 2 years now, that is what I've done. I've traveled around the country. You know, I've been from California to Oklahoma City, had the motorcycle accident, got laid up there. As soon as I was walking again, I was in Seattle with a client for 3 months, and then I was in Florida for a couple of months, back to California, back then to Texas, Austin, back to California, then in Dallas for 4 months. And after Dallas, I was like, all right, I need a little break. I got to take some time for myself, for self-healing, self-care. But the phone can ring anytime. My email can, people can reach me. They often do reach me by email. And
Do you want to let the people know what that email is?
Sure,
if
it
people
is.
want to get in touch
It
with
is
you?
recoveryroadproject@gmail.com. As it sounds, lowercase, no spaces, Recovery Road Project. And interesting how that just happens. You know, I had this vision 5, 7, 8 years ago of doing just this, traveling around, working one-on-one with people outside of a rehab environment, because as many people know, the rehab model is designed for failure.
Sure.
It's cookie cutter.
Probably much like our prison.
Very much, very much. And you know, what I do is I go and I tailor people's recovery for what their needs are. You know, I meet their families. I meet their, if they, I've gone into people's offices with them.
The one-on-one is very powerful. Very powerful.
It is. It's an incredible experience. I look forward to doing it. And most of the people that I've done that type of intervention with, and it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months, typically 3, they are sustaining sobriety after I leave, which is that's the measure. You know, anybody can stay sober when they've got somebody babysitting them, but I don't babysit them. I'm working on building a foundation in recovery that is based on my own experiences. I'm in recovery myself for almost 16 years, and the individualization part, I think, is what makes things click. People feel attended to.
Now, a question that kind of comes to mind is that when someone has decided it's as serious as it is and they need to get help to stop because they no longer can do it on their own, and it's important for those people to continue to stay sober, is that just in a mindset that if they were to do something again, that it could spring into action all of this previous past stuff that, like, what actually is stopping people from just like having a casual smoke or a casual drink after they've went through something as serious as knowing that they need the help and the support?
So there's a much longer answer that I won't bore you with, but the short version of the answer to that question, which I get asked all the time, is that addiction, and include alcoholism in that, under that umbrella.
Absolutely.
Addiction is chronic. That is, there is no cure. Nobody wakes up one day after X number of years living an addicted lifestyle, and all of the horrors that go with it, the costs associated with it, financially,
Absolutely.
Occupationally, relationships,
Family.
Mm-hmm. They they want to know, like, why can't I moderate? You know, can you teach me how to drink moderately? The answer is no, I can't do that. There are people who advocate for that and that they're able to.
But that seems even harder than just stopping. To say, yeah, I can do this willy-nilly now that I know how to control myself.
This is a bold statement, but I will say it anyway. Anyone who claims to have used drugs or alcohol compulsively as an addict and
Sure.
all that goes with it,
Yes.
who tells you, I am now a moderate drinker or a moderate pot smoker, they will eventually, if not already, resume their use in a compulsive way. And you know, the addicted brain is wired differently than the normal brain. It's why there are people who can, smoke weed even daily. They get home from work, they light up a bowl, they relax, they have dinner, they play with their kids. When I was eating, 50, 60, 70 Vicodin in a day, I was physically present, but I was intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually gone. And my kids knew it, my ex knew it, and the people around me knew it. And it's why when people enter recovery, people around them immediately start saying, did you lose weight? Did you change your hair? Did you you look so good? And they don't know why, because they didn't know what was going on in the first place. It's because the light goes back on. People who use addictively are dying sometimes very quickly right
Sure.
before people's eyes. And so recovery is about gaining that light back and having a spiritual transformation. And for people who struggle with that, like myself, back then, it is often the hardest part of what I do, is helping people find their own spiritual niche into which they can step and begin to practice a recovery-oriented lifestyle.
For someone who is maybe actively thinking about recovery, who's maybe just gone too far and now wants to think about turning that light back on, what would you say to someone who doesn't have a lot of money or resources alone to maybe actively go get rehabilitation or something like that? What would you tell those people who are maybe not financially in the right place to get deep help? What's a good method for them to just start taking the right steps?
Well, so let me say this right off the bat. So there are two specific substances that nobody should just stop taking cold turkey, and that is alcohol and benzos, like Valium, Klonopin, Xanax.
And they don't tell you that at the
They don't
doctors
tell you
when
that,
they give you that.
But if you've been taking those in excess for a long time and you stop, stopping can kill you.
Right.
You must go to a hospital. You must go through at least 3 to 5 days of detox, medically supervised detox. Even when I go to work with somebody privately,
Mm-hmm.
while I'm in transit, so the way it works is somebody calls me, says, "Hey, Mitch, are you still doing the kind of work where yes, what's going on?" And the decision whether I'm going to go and work with them process usually takes somewhere around 12 to 36 hours. And as soon as they say, "All right, I want to do this," I have already found, if they don't have one already, I have found them an addictionologist who is a psychiatrist who is willing to provide them with the medication that is necessary.
Sure.
Or I'll tell them to go to detox, and I'll be there by the time you get out, and we'll start work. But sometimes
How long would you say a normal detox would take?
Well,
For things like that you have to get
to be
treated.
safe,
Right.
3 to 4, maybe 5 days. They're usually out of the woods. It's a blood pressure check. It's are they still having tremors? If they're coming off of opiates, that's a whole nother story. They can be safe, but they're fucking miserable.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I was dope sick for 22 or 23 days, which is longer than normal. Most people can get through opiate withdrawal in a week or less if they stop. And there are medications that can be taken, which I am a big believer in. some people in the community are against medical medication
so to
assisted.
speak.
Well, it's called MAT, medication assisted treatment, or therapy, and that is, if they're, especially if they're opiate addicts, because the hooks are so strong that oftentimes there's a period during which a transitional medication is needed to get them out of the day-to-day habits of using, while tapering down a supervised taper that makes withdrawal more tolerable, after which we can then dig in and do some work, try and identify the day-to-day life changes that need to happen in order to sustain recovery. Because it's a global life change. Everything changes. My life changed. The people that I work with, their lives change, and it's recognizable. People see it fairly quickly.
Right.
It has to.
It
People
literally
die.
comes to fruition, like in front of them, and that's probably one of the most exciting things for someone going through recovery. Is like, on the other end of this, is that really cool guy that likes to go running and play basketball with his friends and play with his kids and not just be like zonked.
Yeah, and the people who call me, the people I go to, they're people just like you and me or anybody else you know. Look, I was a secret, clandestine drug addict living in the suburbs, coaching Little League baseball. Like, nobody knew.
Right.
You know when they knew? They knew when I got clean and my life started looking really differently from the outside. Then they kind of, they knew something had changed.
Right. It was the haircut.
It was the haircut, right. But so the hardest thing for an addict to do is to say, I can't do this, but if I don't, I'm going to die. But that's usually when my phone rings or I get an email, and then I just go, because how could I not? And I'd like to get to a point where I can.
What's the Gmail one more time?
It is Recovery Road Project at gmail.com, or they can DM me on Instagram at Nomadic Van Sessions.
Nomadic Van Sessions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I give my time away. Anybody that just needs an ear, anybody that just wants to explore what the options are.
It's a great start.
Yeah, that is where it starts.
Exactly.
Starting to talk about it. Yeah. And most of these people have nobody to talk to, because the average addict is completely isolated underneath it all, even if they're surrounded by people.
Or maybe just the wrong people. So the people who are actively not trying to get better are not the people to be talking to about getting better, because they probably don't want to hear it.
You'd be surprised how many people are in long-standing marriages with a spouse who says, on one hand, I'm going to leave you if you don't stop drinking,
Mm-hmm.
and then at dinner they're pouring themselves half a bottle of wine, right? So you're absolutely right. Even if they don't even realize they're doing anything wrong, even if they want to be sensitive, and oftentimes that's part of my work, is helping families understand what needs to happen in the family system to help my client sustain the change. Right. It's one thing for me to, like, while I'm there, and I've done this, taken liquor or drugs out of somebody's hand. It's another thing for them to have a sustainable environment that is conducive to lasting recovery.
Right.
And that's
Actively.
easier said than done.
Totally.
But I just want to say this: there is help for everybody immediately today. All you have to do is go on narcoticsanonymous.com, I guess, or AA's main website, and there are meeting finders that you can download to your phone that will tell you when the next and closest 12-step meeting is, and all you have to do is walk into it and ask for help. I realize easier said than done, and a lot of people have this anti-12-step bias. I believe in all paths to recovery. If 12-step doesn't work for you, I will find another way. But that
trying
exists
a
and it
method.
works.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Try. Fail and try again.
I went to rehab. I got home. I took the wife and kids to dinner, and then I went to a meeting. And I was an active member in the 12-step community for several years. And I still attend meetings, So it does work if you're open to it. Yeah. But there are other things.
Once again, I appreciate you being here today.
I appreciate you having me. I love the sound of my own voice.
It sounds good from here and here.
Yeah. And this is what you're doing, what you are growing here in the Cream-Based Bus is a bridge between the people who inhabit this community and people out there who would not otherwise get a window into what we do and who we are. So whether it's music or
there's some really cool shit going on.
There's some amazing shit, and I'll tell you what, I have not felt so comfortable around strangers that immediately became friends in a very long time.
Right, we've kind of, even just recently, we met at Skooliepalooza, and now we have this, little community we've been just, hanging out with in Arizona for a little while before we go on our own ways again,
Yeah.
And I didn't expect, I thought Skooliepalooza was going to be it, that was going to be what we did for a little, and then we were going to be alone for a while. And now, getting to the point where we're now, hanging out with you guys and doing this. This is super excited. This is what I wanted to be doing. And now this gives me the perfect opportunity to just start diving in and finding out what I want this to be. And really, it's a space for everyone doing something that they are passionate about. And
there is a lot of passion out here. People are passionate about whatever their thing is.
Right.
We've got it in spades.
You have to be incredibly intentional about what you bring with you, because it has to be important. If it's not, you're probably going to throw it on the side of the road because you don't need it in your way.
And I would imagine that people jump into this, they try it out, and maybe it's not for them. And that's okay. But if you're thinking about this, pardon?
It's definitely an investment.
It's an investment, sure. But anyone who's thinking about trying this way of life really needs to. We met people at Skoolie who are doing it in their car or their Jeep, or you don't need
or with 8 chickens and 6 kids.
With 8 chickens and 6 kids, exactly.
Right. Well, if you'd like to play us out, we've got room for one more song.
I'll play you out. I'll play you out with let's see. I will play you out with what a very old friend of mine. This was one of the first songs I recorded.
You look good with the shades on, by the way.
Well, thank you. And it helped because the ocular migraine didn't take full hold. I
think shutting it down too.
That helped a lot. Shutting the light off helped. Because in theory, I would have had to. Normally, what I do is I find a interior bathroom, close the door, put something under it so no light comes in. Yeah. I've got to be in pitch black.
Yeah, she knows. And one of the things that helps me wouldn't help you, but she literally will grab my hair at the scalp, literally on the roots, and pull from all the angles and just rip my hair, pull tight, all over.
And you get them?
Oh, yeah. I've had them since I was a child. It's absolutely miserable.
I haven't had one in 2 years.
Yeah.
And there it was. But this was nothing. It's. I think it's gone.
But yeah, you have to shut everything down, whether it be sound, smell. Any smells will definitely make it worse. I'm right there with you.
And of all the things you want to give to your kids, my youngest son, he gets them. And of course, my phone will ring and it'll be like, "Hey, Pop, just wanted to connect. I'm having an ocular migraine, feeling really anxious." And I'll just stay with him while he's, putting himself in the dark and, carrying himself through it. As you can tell, my sons are just everything to me. They're like my whole world. Okay, well, I will take us out, as you say. And this song is called, say when, Solitary Man. I was 18, I was aching, constantly recuperating from my breaking heart. I was sacrificing freedom, searched in vain for my lost kingdom. I was ripped apart, standing lonesome in a crowded room, surrounded by impending doom. I waited. Can I tell you what it's like to be solitary man? You were dressed up like a princess, unrequited love, relentless, you were flying. How I long to be your savior, keep you from the danger you're denying. Could I catch you when you fall? Could I even save myself at all? I'm dying. Let me tell you what it's like to be solitary man. Whoa, TV plays all night, hate to be alone. Inside the darkness there, my solitude has grown. 10 years come and gone, seen my baby born in mesmerizing wonder. Now I look into his eyes and see reflections of my lightning and thunder. And I swear to God, can't let him be another sentimental fool like me. 'Cause you can't understand what it's like to be a solitary man. Let me tell you what it's like to be a solitary man. Let me tell you.
One last time, thank you so much, Mitch, for being here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we're headed to Craggy Wash tomorrow.
Craggy Wash.
We're doing the thing.
Have you been
Nope.
through there?
I hope there's water. Sounds like there is. There's a wash.
There's no wash.
There's no
just
washing?
bumps.
Okay.
You just got to take it real slow. But I saw Skoolies back there.
Cool,
so
cool.
you'll get there.
Cool. And this is Nomadic Van Sessions, you guys. Follow him on Instagram if you want to know what's going on.
Follow me on Instagram. DM me if you're struggling. Reach out by email. That's recoveryroadproject@gmail.com. Reach out to the Cream-Based Bus and say, yo, where's that Mitch dude? Really, don't struggle alone. People who struggle alone, they don't last long. So you need help, I'll show up. Period. End of story.
My hands are freezing. Bye, guys.